Welcome to the Homeschool Show from North Carolinians for Home Education, where our goal is to help you homeschool with confidence and joy. I'm your host, Matthew McDill, and we have as our co-host today, T. Essence.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Nice to have you back.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah. Did you have a good holidays and such?
Yeah, it was really good.
That's great.
Really chilled. It was really nice.
That's the kind you want.
Yes, it is.
What do we have today?
So today, for homeschool news, we have big news about Thrive, the NCHE Homeschool Conference.
Right.
So that's good. And very exciting, for Homeschool Conversations, we have here today in the studio a special guest, Jessica Frierson. Jessica has served for years as a regional liaison and is now on the NCHE board as secretary.
Mm-hmm.
She also manages the NCHE blog and is one of our primary contributors. She is also one of the workshop speakers at the Thrive Conference. So Jessica is a big deal, and we are glad she is in the studio. Hello, Jessica.
Hi. It's great to be here today.
Welcome.
Yes.
Glad you could be here.
We are glad to have you. And then also we will have our Homeschool Helps with Amanda, and she's going to give us step-by-step instructions on how to open your homeschool here in North Carolina. So
That's right.
good show.
Okay, so the big news for the conference is that registration is open tomorrow.
Yes.
So that will be January 17th, and you can rush right in immediately and register so that you don't miss it.
Yes.
I hope that's already on your calendar. That's May 25th through the 27th this year, and that's at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And so we are really excited.
Yes.
Here we are. We've turned the corner of the year. Coming up to the conference again, it's really hard to believe.
I know. I feel like we just had
I
the
know.
conference.
It
and
really
now,
does.
yeah, it's
So
exciting.
we're getting ready for it. You can learn all about the conference, and you can register by going to nche.com/thrive. So I want to ask you guys, how long have you guys been going to the conference?
Well, I'm the baby homeschooler here. Started 2019, so I've been going to the conference since then. So I guess minus 2020, 3 years?
Yeah,
I guess
3,
it's been.
4,
Yeah.
And I've been going, about 10 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. My first conference I attended, I also was a speaker. So I've never actually attended just as a conference attendee.
Wow.
But I was sold on it and regretted that I had not attended in previous
Right.
years because
Wow.
it was just so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got you guys beat with about at least 17 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. You
So
win.
our earliest, our first child was about to go into kindergarten age or whatever, and we went that year, and we haven't missed.
So you
Wow.
started off the right way.
Yes.
Right
I
away.
think
Yeah.
17 years ago, I think I was just finishing middle school, possibly.
Oh, wow.
That was not on my radar at the time.
So what do you guys like about it? What's some of the highlights for you that you enjoy the most?
I do like the kids ministry. I'm a homeschool mom, so I love having my babies with me most of the time. But it's good that I get to drop them off. They get to have their fun, and I get to kind of just be refreshed and just mingle and talk. So, yeah, probably
That's
my
great.
favorite part. Yeah.
I think for me, with looking back to my first conference attendance, it was just seeing, wow, there's a lot of others out there, and just that feeling like we're not alone doing this.
Yeah.
That was very, very encouraging. The vendor hall,
Okay.
I'm a hands-on kind of a person,
Yeah.
so being able to look at curriculum, I cannot even count how many things I had planned to buy that I looked at and thought, oh, I don't think that's the right fit. But on the other hand, looked at something else and like, oh yes, this is what I want. And it was just that hands-on with the curriculum that really
Got it.
Yeah.
did it for me.
How about you?
Well, for me, I'm just going to be the nerd and
Okay.
say the workshops.
Well, there are those too.
I love the featured speakers and all the
Yeah.
workshops
Yep.
because it really is stimulating.
Yes, it
I
is.
mean, there are a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, a lot of challenges that I just wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
And so I feel inspired and refreshed, like, oh, good, I have a different perspective. It really impacts me in that way.
Yes.
I love that.
I think that's what's so great about the conference, though, that we're both, all homeschoolers, but we have like different needs,
Yeah.
and all of our needs could be met. So it's like whether you're a new homeschooler, a veteran homeschooler, whatever you fit, like the conference is a place to be. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Register.
so be there. Yeah,
Yeah.
register tomorrow,
Yes.
January 17th, nche.com/thrive.
Yes.
All right, we're going to dive right into our homeschool conversations, and that's why we have Jessica here.
Yes, yes.
And we are highlighting today one of the workshops that she's hoping to give at the conference. I'm going to tell you about this, but next week, all the workshops are going to be released. Okay. So we don't actually know all the details, but we know that Jessica is probably going to do a homeschool how-tos. I mean, there could be a lot. How to what? Everything?
Well, as many how-tos as I can fit into that 50-minute slot. Yes, there are a lot of how-tos, aren't there?
Yes, there are. I could think of lots of how-tos.
Yes. And not necessarily just on the academic side of things. Because, as a mom, I mean, which of us moms is sitting at home just, eating bonbons on the sofa, watching our stories, and then, what will we do with the rest of our time? Oh, I'll homeschool. That's not happening. We're already busy all day long. The laundry and the meals and keeping everybody alive and the house reasonably clean. And then when we add homeschooling, which is another full-time job, it's kind of like we're doing double duty all day long.
Absolutely.
So, one of the things I'm going to talk about is like what I call Laundry Mountain.
Come on now.
Laundry
Everybody
Mountain.
have Laundry Mountain in your house? Yes. Okay. You just put it off. Everybody's got to have clothes to wear, and you just that pile gets higher and higher and higher until
they
like
run out.
until they run out, or like you can't
I don't have a
find.
shirt.
Yep. Well, when they run out, you say like, "Oh, go look, dig through the mountain," right? So how do you stay on top of all these things around your home and be schooling all the time?
Absolutely.
Another thing that I know both of you have.
Wait, you're not going to tell us how?
Well, no, you got to come to the conference and find
We got
out.
to give our audience some tips here.
Yeah, I mean, because truly, like I said, I'm still on the new homeschool side of things.
Yes.
So I have a lot of friends kind of in that same group of our kids are getting older, and they're like, I want to homeschool.
Yeah.
Okay, the curriculum I can figure out, but like a friend of mine, but she's trying to figure out that part. But how do I homeschool and manage my life? So
All right, so I'm
that's
going to give you a
the stuff-
sneak peek.
Yeah, gotta give us
peek.
something.
Here's the preview. So the key is train your children
There
to
it
help
is.
you and start when they're early.
Okay.
So mine, when they reach 2 years old, they get their first jobs. They get on the chore chart. And that first job is loading the dryer. Now they do it with me.
Yeah.
Okay, they can't even reach it, right?
Yeah.
But I hand it to them. They put it in the dryer, and they have this sense of like, I'm part of this family.
Yeah.
I help. I contribute, and they feel very empowered and very happy in themselves. And then they get part of that routine. So you start early, and as they get older, the chores get more difficult or more. Critical to be done, like unloading the dishwasher, or
Actual chores.
actual real chores where they're actually accomplishing something, but it becomes just a part of their normal routine. And they also, I buddy up because I have a large family, so the younger ones get buddied up with the older ones. And so there's a training that the older ones are actually training the younger ones with them as they're doing, like, say, bathroom, and they have their partner there. So that's how we tackle that one.
And then you mentioned chore chart.
Yes.
So will you bring the chore chart to the workshop, or is that something we gotta go to find out?
I can bring a copy of of the chore charts, and the chore charts change over the years, and we do a rotational thing. We've done it where people have the same job for a month. They really get to know that job, or usually it's more of a week, and everyone rotates out every week. Each room has a laminated chart for that room that says how you clean the dining room, step by step. Make sure all these things get done.
That's good.
And then Saturdays is our big chore day. You really get it done. So my house, I'm not saying it's perfect. It's definitely not, but it stays reasonably, workably, functionally clean.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Straight.
Yes. I said functionally, like we can function in it, right?
That's awesome. Yes. Okay. What's another how-to you have for us?
Okay, and then get more in the academics of things. When you are going to homeschool, the first thing you think about probably is, what you're going to teach your children.
Yes.
And that can be very overwhelming. I mean, you are the one responsible for at least making sure they learn, even if you're not the one actually to teach them, to set it in place, their educational plan. So, Amanda's going to talk in our program today about how to open a homeschool. Okay, so what's the next step? And that's what I'm going to talk about at the conference is, okay, you've got a homeschool open. Now what? You choose your curriculum. Okay, well, so you have your curriculum. Now what? Now you've got these stacks of books and workbooks and, okay, what next?
Yeah.
How do I put this together into an education plan for my child? And that's still overwhelming to me after 22 years of homeschooling.
Okay.
I mean, we were supposed to start geology. Well, let's just not say when. We're now in our second semester, and we are, again, going to start this. And you know what it is that putting that book into daily segments of studying it.
Yeah.
And I've got the different parts of this unit we're going to do on geology. I've got some crystal kit. We're going to grow crystals, and I've got rocks, different kinds of rocks we're going to look at. I've got the books, and I've got books on 2 different levels because I'm teaching 5 children right now.
Wow.
But when it comes down to starting the day, like what am I going to do today?
Yeah.
And I've got these things over here, and how I'm going to put this into today's lesson and tomorrow's lesson and next week's lesson. So I'm going to talk about that, of how to break that down into, chunks that we can manage for each day. It's kind of like, the joke, how to eat an elephant?
Yes.
1 bite at a time. Well, how do you plan your homeschool? 1 day at a time.
And I love how you're going to do academics. So you're talking about how to break down, these curriculums into daily things, as well as how to break down Laundry Mountain into, small,
Right.
like daily things that the children can help with. And so you really get the whole picture of how to live in this homeschool life, which I think
Yes.
is a big question that like everybody is asking when they want to homeschool or they want to continue homeschooling.
That's right.
So hearing that from you, especially as a, how do you say, 22 years? Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, yes, we started in 2000, the fall of 2000, and here we are, our 22nd, if I'm counting right, year. And
So as you go through these topics, be sure and give us putting all of the the school plan together. Give us some tips and nuggets of in each of these categories as we go through, so that everyone doesn't have to wait the whole time.
I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to have an empty room to talk to at the conference.
We're talking for 10 minutes, and they're going to be like, I want an hour of this.
And
I want
what?
the details.
It's even hard to fit it all into that.
Yeah.
So one of the things is for the lesson plans, how to make that practical to work for me and my children. I have kind of a master set for myself. It's an overall plan, and I have one of those calendar books that's like a 2-page spread for the week.
Okay.
And I will put down just an overall kind of a broad thing, what we're going to do this week. So maybe this week we're going to work on Civil War. Okay, that's something we're actually in the middle of right now. We're doing the Civil War, and I'm going to put a couple weeks into that. So I'll just put Civil War on my calendar. For the children's lesson plans, I use just notebooks, just composition books, and depending on the age depends on how much detail I put into that. My older ones are very self-motivated and go on their own. And then, of course, the younger ones are much more hands-on, working right along beside me. And so they don't even have an assignment book. But for those others, they'll have a notebook, and I'll put down, okay, here's what you have to do today for grammar and algebra and biology. And for each subject, here's what they cover. A little line to check off when they've done it, because kids just need that reinforcement even to themselves. Okay, yep, that's done.
Progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love checking things off.
I love
I
it.
do
Sometimes
too.
when I do something, I write it down so
my
I can
gosh.
check it off.
I did that too. I did it before I left.
Okay.
So now he's like, are you going to write that on your list? Absolutely. I'm
I
about
did it,
to do
didn't I?
I'm glad to know I'm not the only one that does that.
Yes.
So we're helping our children feel
Yes.
like they're
Oh.
accomplishing something.
Right, that
Yeah.
sense of fulfillment. Okay, done. Yes, exactly. And so they know that they have to have a little check mark in every box before they can have their free time. They also know that I'm going to look at it
Yes.
at some point and see. So that's another thing we'll talk about is following through, the importance on the mother of following through, and how to fit that in with everything else. And sometimes that follow through happens at
That's
like
the hardest part.
1 a.m. and you have to actually follow through in the morning with the child because they're
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I was thinking back to the chore chart thing. I'm like, we have a chore chart.
You're like,
But that's not the
where
same
is
as
it?
using it. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And so you have those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But that, let's talk for a minute. how do we just make sure that we're following up on the lists and the different things like that?
Yeah.
Besides, I guess, just do it or what?
So I think you got to keep it simple. I don't know what you think, Jessica. Like I've made so many charts and so many plans, and so
Yes.
and then you get to the point where you're just trying to keep up with your stuff that you can't even focus on the children or yourself. And
Right.
you're like, I'm a slave to all of my
Yes.
charts, and
And
just
you
keep
need
it
to be the
simple.
master of that and
Okay.
not let it master you.
There you go.
And you said the key, I think, is keeping it simple.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we do is, well, first of all, it gets kind of obvious, at least maybe not the first day, but day 2 or 3, if someone hasn't done their chore.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't have to look at the chart to know.
Exactly. I do have to refer to the chart at least a few times a week just to remind myself, okay, who had bathrooms this week?
Okay.
Who
Yeah.
had floors this week? Okay, this
See, I
floor
only
has
have
got to
one
be
big
done.
kid, so like if the chores aren't done, I'm like, hey, tonight,
Yeah,
what's
it's
going
you.
on here?
You can look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Or the playroom, like Jay, I know, but it's just
That's
you
right.
two, you guys. Yeah.
That's right. So yeah, you know, it changes with family dynamics.
Absolutely.
It definitely changes. But I try to have specific rewards that the children know they get when it's done. You know,
Okay.
part of that reward is just, you know, you have a clean house and it's functional and you have food to eat and something to eat it on. There's just that practicality.
Yeah.
But also, you know, they know that they're not going to get to go and do whatever their preferred hobby, activity, free time thing is until it's done. Christmas gift we got this year is going to be very effective. Already has proven to be in getting the chore chart completed.
Okay.
Got a trampoline.
Oh.
And so
No
that's
trampoline until you finish. Huh?
exactly. You should
Nice.
see how things are
Okay.
getting done this last
Yeah,
couple of
hope
weeks.
it lasts a while.
I
Right?
know.
Yes. The novelty may wear off. We may have to find something else, but whatever
Yeah.
their free activity is,
Yeah.
till the schoolwork's done, the chore's done, you can't do it.
So for me, I just have to have something on my schedule. It doesn't have to be a time, but just a rhythm in the day that at this point in the afternoon, I check on it. You know,
Yeah.
I
Right.
is just kind of the review time, and it's just a part of the rhythm.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a time, but it's a period of time before dinner. I don't know when it is, but if you make following up a part of the rhythm,
Yeah.
then I can remember it. But otherwise, unless it has a space, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's so true, and I think that's really important with the academic side following through. The children need to know that you are going to follow through,
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
and it helps them to have that time frame that they know this is the time that mom or dad's going to come and check, and I better have it done by then.
Yeah.
Holding them accountable, a big part of that is you being yourself being accountable to something, and maybe that is a schedule that you made, and sometimes it's being accountable to them, you know,
Right.
in a way that I've had kids say, "Mom, I thought you were going to check this." Oh
Uh,
yes, I
Yes,
am.
yes.
I'm headed there now. Now that you mention it.
So how about any other main topics or to-dos you're going to have there?
Well, one of the things I'll talk about is when you're choosing curriculum,
Okay.
just like with the chore chart, don't let that curriculum be your master, make you the slave. You need to be the master of that. If your curriculum doesn't fit, doesn't work for you, or work for that particular child or this particular season, shelve it or get rid of it, find the one that does. Don't, be a slave to the curriculum, but be the master of it. And I think that's an important thing that I talk to a lot of moms who, they're really struggling, and when it comes down to it, it's just the curriculum was a poor fit.
Yeah.
And they feel like, I'm committed because I bought this. And sometimes, you spend a lot of money on it. Maybe it's not in your budget to get something different. There's always something else you can find. Even there's a lot of free resources that you can use. Just don't be a slave to the curriculum, but be the master of it.
Yeah. I know some people too who, for example, will buy some of those more extensive curriculums.
Yes.
But they don't feel the need to do everything on it.
Yes.
So maybe if
Right.
somebody's in a situation where they can't like buy a new curriculum, but they're like, this one is taking over our lives, and they could just,
Yes.
hey, we're just going to do A, B, and C.
That's right.
And
That's
be
right.
done with it. Yeah.
I think that's one of the wonderful things about homeschooling is the flexibility
Yeah.
and the freedom that we have. And we can so easily let go of those gifts that we have.
Yeah.
And yes, we don't have to do anything that's in that book. We don't have to. There's one particular resource that we use the textbook. And you know what? I have had, going all the way back to the beginning on my shelf, that student quiz book, that student workbook, and then the teacher key for each of those. We have yet to use them. and I finally quit beating myself up over it.
Yeah.
It just didn't work, and I felt like I needed to try it. And there was this pressure that I put on myself, like, oh, I'm not even doing this. And I'm like, but they did okay with that. We didn't need that. And so finally, and I've held on to it because, kids are different. And I have some that kind of, they respond better. They like, actually, that kind of thing. And so, we might use it one day and we might not. But yes, you never have to use everything that's in the curriculum because you are in control of your homeschool.
Sounds like a good workshop.
So I think that is not a super specific to do, but it's kind of like a mentality where I have to feel free.
Yes.
I have to feel free to do what's best for my family, for my kids at this time.
Yes. I think that's so true, Matthew. When I have talked to moms over the years that were having the most problems, I would say that in almost every case, the real change that needed to take place was in their approach to it, their mental approach, that mentality. In whatever problem they were having, it really was a change, a shift in mentality that needed to happen. And then there were other things that once they did that, they could bring into part of fixing, finding that solution to the problems they were having. It was a shift in mentality to start.
That's awesome.
This is great. Yeah,
that is
thanks,
good.
Jessica.
Yeah. So thank you, Jessica. If you want more information, come to the conference.
Yeah.
Registration opens tomorrow. And now we are going to hear from Amanda. Homeschool Helps with Amanda.
That's
Check
right.
it out.
Welcome to Homeschool Helps with Amanda. I'm Amanda Wares, Homeschool Helps Director with NCHE. Today, we are going to be going through in detail the steps you need to take to open a homeschool in North Carolina. I am still, even at this point in the school year, getting phone calls and emails. What do we do? How do we open our homeschool? So we're going to go step by step and get you through to getting your homeschool open. First, you're going to go to the Division of Non-Public Education website. You can Google NCDNPE, or you can go to ncadmin.nc.gov/public/homeschool information. And that will take you right to where you need to be. Then you click, there's a button on there that says File a Notice of Intent to Homeschool. Note, you are not asking anybody's permission. You are merely informing the state what you intend to do with your children. So you're going to click File a Notice of Intent to Homeschool. Once you do that, it's a step-by-step online form that you will fill out. It's no big deal, but a couple of things you have to do that might be a little tricky. One, you have to name your homeschool. Now, this may not seem like a big deal. You may think, I'm only going to homeschool this year. I'm only going to homeschool for a little while, so it doesn't matter what the name of my homeschool is. Well, I thought that too when I first started homeschooling, and here we are 18 years and 3 graduates later. It's always best to choose a name for your homeschool that will sound good, will sound official, look official on a high school diploma, on a high school transcript. Now, while I know Fluffy Bunny Academy sounds really cute right now, it's not going to sound so cute when your kid is graduating from high school. So, another note, once you choose a name, you cannot change it. So it's really important to choose a name that you are satisfied with and will be satisfied with long term. Okay? Next, you're going to have to choose if your school is religious or non-religious. This is something that's left over from the private school law. They have to be designated religious or not. It is no big deal. It makes no difference, has no effect on your homeschool whatsoever. So you just choose one. It really doesn't matter. Next, you're going to have to add at least one student. You do have to have a student in your homeschool that is at least 7 or older. You don't put any names of your student. You're just going to put gender and age, or gender and grade level, maybe all those things. No big deal. You just put that down. And last but not least, you are going to upload the documentation that you have at least a high school diploma. You can upload a picture of a high school diploma, a college diploma, transcripts are okay, a GED is okay. There's a lot of different options. But after you do that, you upload it all, the Division of Non-Public Education will get all your information, and they will send you back a form that says you are official. You have opened your homeschool in North Carolina. And that's all. That's all you do. And once you open it, it's open until you close it. I hope this has been helpful today.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. That was helpful.
Yes.
Jessica, thank you for being here.
Yes.
It's very encouraging to hear what's coming up. And hope you'll join us next week. And until then, continue to homeschool with confidence and joy.